Okay, second off. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody. This is Pickaway County's DSP Meet Up for November. We're calling this Tax Talk 101 or Tax Talk number 1. My name is Barb Corley. I am the DSP Liaison for Pickaway County. To everybody out there who's showed some interest and wanted this link, I thank you. I hope it's helpful. We have Sharon Smith with us from 77 Accounting Services. She's going to be our speaker for this evening, and she's taught me everything I know with taxes. I've known her for like 30 years. I know. So, yeah, so if you have questions, we will have, I'll share Sharon's information. She's been gracious enough to be willing to share her email and telephone to answer basic questions for everybody. Yeah, so I think tonight we're going to focus primarily on like expenses and how you do all that.
Income
basically.
and expenses.
Income and income and expenses.
Yes.
So we are shaping up to have a DSP talk number 2. That will be announced, and you'll get an email on that probably here within the next day or so. So I will turn it over to Sharon. Thanks, Sharon.
Okay. All right, I'm glad to be here. Hopefully I can be some help to everybody. As Barbara said, we've known each other for a long time. And if you have any questions, we'll sort of wait till the end to answer them all. Any questions you would have. I've prepared taxes for a number of years, and hopefully I can help you in your field to give you the right information that you're looking for, okay? The very first thing that I want to bring to your attention is when you are considered independent, I would recommend you see a tax preparer. Not try to do it yourself. There's too many different areas in the income and the expenses, and you want to get it correct, okay? You're going to hear so many things from so many people. You can have this, you can have that. That's why I said talk to a tax preparer, okay? Now, very quickly, I'm going to bring 2 things up before we continue with being an independent in your field. Number 1, there are some that are paid, but it's not taxable. And I think some of you have heard that. That would be on a W-2. And you can have nothing. No expenses at all, okay? Because in the tax regulations in 2018, they took all of those expenses away from employees. That's why you can't have it, okay? On those W-2s, if you're ever considered that way, where it's not taxable, that will show part information, it will show part income. Then you're going to see a bigger figure where they're self-employed and Medicare. They cover that whole amount for Social Security and Medicare, but just not being taxed on it on W-2 wages, okay? So, but I want to make it clear that you cannot have any of those expenses because you're an employee, okay? All right, another thing with this, you would be issued a 1099 NEIC, okay? That's the new form the Internal Revenue's put out. NCI? NEC or NEIC. I've seen it 2 different ways on a 1099, okay? But they'll issue that. That is your income. And if you don't agree with the figure, you contact the people that are paying you first before you see your tax person, okay? So that maybe they're not paid you enough, maybe too much, whatever. But you see them first, and then we take it from there, okay? So you'll bring that in with income. So that's not too much to look at there. That's how you're paid, unless they give you a different form in lieu of a 1099. And they'll put it like in letter form, and I've seen it that way before, but IRS doesn't like that too much anymore, but I have seen it, okay? So we know what their income is. The main thing is the expenses. You have your income, and you know how you're going to be treated as an independent. Now, I will come up with a list that I'll give to Barbara that she can disperse to anyone she knows and to you also in our next meeting. But the main thing I tell my clients is anything and everything. Now, I know that doesn't give you much to go on, and I will bring some expenses up, okay? The main thing, let's start with travel. We'll do that first. What the IRS likes to see, because I've been on audits with this certain situation with many different types of independent people in all fields. Take beginning abdominal reading. Take the ending abdominal reading for the year. Some people do it each time, some don't. I have so many clients that, Sharon, it's just too much to do. My mind's going in different directions. I've got to do a lot of things. So IRS will accept beginning and ending, okay? And then you keep all of your business miles. Now, in business miles, it will be back and forth to your clients that you have, patients, whatever you refer to them as, you know. People call them all different sort of customers, clients, whatever, okay? But, so back and forth to that. If you have to send out certain documents that you have to report, you go to the post office, you write it down, okay? You have to pick up supplies for what you do for the individual. If nothing's covered for you, you keep that travel. Anything dealing with it. You go to meetings, I don't care what it is, training, mileage, for all of it. That's the important thing. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to do it over. No, you went there, you write it down where you went, you can have it. So don't ever hesitate to take actual travel. I see a lot of people, and like I just said a few minutes ago, some will say, well, I don't want to do that. Sounds like too much. No, it isn't, because you can prove it, okay, by writing it down. That's what they like to see. Now, sometimes individuals, if you don't change your own oil, guess what? You can go on the mileage each time you go in to have your oil changed. Okay, so maybe you forgot to keep track between a certain period of time. Right there it is. Okay, so that's something to look at. All right. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to travel, there's two different ways we can do it for you. We can give you, well, that's a little tax course here. We can give you actual, you know, your insurance, your washing the car, oil change, just everything dealing with the car. And, or we can give you mileage, plus interest that you would pay on the car. Okay? So you can have interest, if you owe on your car, if you have a loan on the car, you can have the amount of mileage that you've went plus interest. So be sure to take that with you when you have your returns done, because they should ask you that, okay, if you have interest. So, but that's all you can have if you take the mileage, all right? As far as which way to go with it, that is what your preparer should help you with at the time of getting your return done.
Okay.
So you can keep both, track of both. You don't want to and just mileage, that's up to you, okay? But you can compare it if you choose to, okay? And so like I said, a lot of people don't go with actual, like in your field or a few others, because you'll depreciate your car, and a lot of people don't want to get into that, okay? So they stay with the mileage. I'm not going to go in to what the mileage is for this year because us preparers aren't happy with what they're going to do. So it's to your advantage. Yeah, it's nothing that's going to hurt you. But they decided we're going to do a split. Okay? So it is going to help our clients for this year. But just be sure that you have that interest if you own your vehicle. Because I do ask. Okay? I do ask. All right. But the important thing is keeping records, okay, of your mileage for the type of profession you have. Now, is other expenses. And as I explained, all supplies and stamps and paper. And if you have a computer that you have to use. Now, you're not going to get 100%, okay? Now, I'll correct that here in a minute as to why that would change. But we give you a percentage of that. You use it for your business. And we'll give you a certain amount. We pretty well know about the time. You know, you have to tell us the time you put into it, and then we'll decide what to give you. But your cell phone, okay? So you will have the total, your internet, all of this. If you have to have a bond, you have to have a special insurance. You can have all of that, okay? It's rare that I've seen it. I have seen it but maybe you need somebody to help you. And you're just going to pay them for a day, a little bit. Well, we need to know that and how you're going to do it. You can deduct it, but at the same time, they have to know they've got to claim it, okay? But you can't have it. It's very rare, but I have seen it, okay? So keep that in mind also, okay? If you have to have any type of uniform that you wouldn't wear regularly going to the store or stuff. I know some nurses and dental techs and everything will rush into the store with their scrubs. That's okay. But if you're independent, you can have it. Again, employees, you can't. Okay? So that's the important thing there. Now, you would be doing a Schedule C to show your income and your expenses. And if you, let me see. Yeah, I'll take you this other direction. I have a lot of people say, well, I want to take all those like pens, papers, pencils, and that is supplies that you're using to write everything down. But some people say, well, I have a room that I'm in to record. Maybe you have to keep track of your hours or something like. Is that what you have to do in your line of, or do you just some accounting?
Yeah, I call them units.
Okay. All right. Now, I have on occasion again given you an office and home for business, or you don't see it on other occupations but a Schedule C, independent. I'm very careful with that, but I'm not afraid to give it if you keep records, okay? Not afraid. And the reason you're using it. You can't have a sofa and TV and all of that in the room. It is your personal office to record everything with your clientele, okay? Anything in that office is 100%, okay? But it must be used for that. They're strict on that, so, just be careful. So you have that little room, you have a desk, you have your computer, and as I said, a few I do that with in your field. Not everybody, but a few I do. Some people have somebody else taking care of things for them, so you wouldn't have that, okay? But I still will give you a percentage of your computer and internet and stuff like that where you're keeping track of things, even if you don't have the office and home. Because you have to have the square footage of the room, okay? So that's one thing you have to also give your preparer, all right? Now, we'll go that direction. Also, if you pay for your own health insurance, it's not through your husband or any other source, and you pay for it, you'll want that available to your tax preparer too, because we'll see which way is best to go with on Schedule C or not, okay? That's where it's our job to see what's best for you, okay? All right, now, like I said, so many expenses. A lot of times you may have to pay to put out your name that, I'm a provider and I'll be glad to help. That's advertising your profession. You can have that, okay? That's why I'm saying just about anything and everything. Just anything. And if you're not sure, bring it to me or whoever prepares your return, and they'll tell you you can have it or not. But I mean just anything and everything.
Sharon, I have a question. If you have office in the home, what about utilities beyond like internet and such like that?
Yes, you can have, when you have office in the home, let's say you have a mortgage on the house, and so you have your mortgage, not the payments, but the interest, and the taxes, and the insurance, and the trash, and utilities. I said insurance, I think, didn't I? Yeah. I'm losing track of it. And so anything in major repairs, okay, like new windows, roof, and something. And there's a percentage. It'll work the percentage out on the square footage. That's how we come up with the percentage, okay? Security alarms. You can have those. So if you have security in your home, that's part of it. If you have an office in the home, okay? And like I said, I don't see too many of them, but some people do a lot of work within there, especially once your business starts building up and you're just going to put a lot of things, reports, records, and so forth, okay? And that was a good question.
What about, and this is, I don't know the answer to this either, what about if you're a renter?
If you rent, you get your whole rent, okay? And renter's insurance. So if you pay $1,000 a month, guess what? You add it all up. Of course, again, it's only the percentage, but you take that for the whole year. And then put it on there, and then a percentage is taken, okay? But yeah, rent. Now, usually people don't have to rent for storage for your line of work, but if for some reason you do, for supplies or something. I've never had someone that has, but it's a possibility, okay? I'm trying to look in my head what I have here. Okay, so any questions to this?
On the mileage, when I walk out the door and sit down in my car, I write the odometer down.
Yes,
And
now
when I get
that's
back
what the
home-
Internal Revenue likes,
Well, that's what I do. I've got
and
this
that's
list. I
good.
do it by
That's
the
great
year.
that you do that,
And then when I get home, I write it down what I ended up with.
and that's good too.
And then on the weekends, I don't because that's personal use.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said some people that don't take the time to do what you do, mileage each trip, like, and to the post office and stuff, some people don't even think about. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm a preparer, okay? And I had my own business for a long time, and I was guilty, okay? I didn't write it down every time,
Okay.
because a lot of times I'd go, if there was disabled clients or something, I would go to their home to, get the returns completed. I've even went to a hospital to do a tax return for somebody, or get the information, not to actually do it there. So all of those are trips, okay? Even if you take the person, we'll get back to that, let's say the individual, you take them for recreation somewhere, or shopping, or some, all of that.
Okay.
Anything and everything concerning that individual that you're caring for,
Can you count that, Sharon? Because in some circumstances, DSPs get reimbursed, we get paid mileage.
I don't for that reason. 'cause I
Yeah.
use my
Yeah,
mileage
but
for
you would
tax.
tell me or whoever's preparing your return, whoever, how much you're reimbursed. Then we
Yeah.
subtract the difference.
When I get
Oh,
my
okay.
client, they ask me, and I always tell them, do not pay me for mileage, because I
Mhm.
use it for my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause I
Yeah,
made
and that'll be an
$1,000
you're
back
right.
last
Nice.
year on-
Now, that's agreement between you,
And the
and-
contract.
and-
the ISP
right.
or whatever.
that is up to you and the other. But anything that you're reimbursed for, you need to let your tax preparer know,
Okay.
okay? But other than that, you can have it. That's why I said if you take the beginning and ending, if you're not gonna keep track like you do, then, and keep just business miles, we know all the rest is personal, okay? But it's good that you're doing that. IRS would be very happy.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell ya. They would, yeah. And they are, trust me, when I've been on an audit, yes, they like it.
Yeah.
But they did finally agree with me beginning and ending. They said, okay, we'll go along with you on
Okay,
that.
good.
Okay, so, because they kept track of just the miles, not the odometer, but the miles. But I'm glad to hear you do that. That's good to hear. Okay, so, and then, of course, we wanna know what your car is. Chevy, Ford, whatever.
Mini Cooper. It doesn't fit my people. But I had to get it because gas is so high.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Coopers are cool.
Yeah. but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have to do a lot of traveling, it gets expensive.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does. Very.
Yeah, I'm gonna give me a hybrid in a few months, so
Mm.
I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
You have to mention that to your tax preparer.
I know, but that's not, I'm not getting that till
But
next
if it's
year.
2023, you can't do it till then anyway.
Right, I'm
It's a
not
new
doing it till
tax
next
thing
year.
that's just come out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It benefit me to do that?
Electric
Instead of the
or
battery.
the other type of vehicles.
Mhm.
Really?
They're
Cooper's
changing
paid
some
for
of
I
it.
can get-
You
I can have
always
a
were able to
car
get a
home.
little bit, but they're changing some of it now. I haven't went to all of it yet. We've got some of it coming in on, tax changes, that the president signed not too long ago.
Mhm.
And it's a good benefit for a lot of people.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad to see some of it. It's not everything that a lot of people wanted, but it's a start.
Yeah.
To help them on their taxes, okay? So, but like I said, the expenses are just unreal. But the clothing, if it's special or even has the name of who you work for or under company, whatever, deductible. If it's got the name on it, it's deductible, okay?
Don't think that counts.
Special shoes,
I
if you have to have special shoes, so anything like that, you can
Anything
have,
job-related.
you can have it,
Okay.
yes, yes, you can.
I just-
That, don't, I think my main thing is don't be afraid to take expenses. And like I said again several times, if you're not sure, that's what we're here for, the preparers, okay, to let you know. But, I'm just that way. I'm not afraid to give expenses. If you have the record and it's in your field,
where are you
you're gonna
located?
get it.
Are you in Circleville?
Mm-hmm,
I
yeah.
live in Frankfurt, so that's not too far to go.
Oh. I have them as far away as California,
Oh, wow.
Florida, New York. Have a lot of clients everywhere.
Okay.
Where I did them and then they got transferred and didn't want anybody else. But it's just nice to know that I still have that contact with the ones I did a long time ago.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but, the thing is that's just the important part. Just anything and everything. And I've mentioned a few and maybe not everything. And I know I haven't, okay? But just be sure, those are the main things with the computer and the internet and the cell phone and all of that, even if you don't go with Office in the home, okay?
So Sharon, with regard to like utilities and all this tracking and stuff, some bills I get in paper form just because for my taxes and retain all that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of like paperwork do you need to retain to prove that my cell phone bill was $114.22 or something?
Now, most of my clients that want that for backup, okay, you can contact that company you're with. Let's say it's Verizon, okay, or some other, and they can give you a printout Now, I don't know if there's a fee, I'll have to be honest, I don't know. I don't think they'll charge you a fee, but you can print it out even on your gas, electric. I've had clients that's actually had to print them out so that we could send in verification that yes, he did spend that or she did, okay? Doesn't happen often, very rare, but that's how you can keep records. And let me tell you, that's, when I say records, you started, if you worked 30 years, I want to see 30 years of records kept. Seriously, because they can go back if they want. If they suspect you've done something fraudulent on the return as an expense or something, they can go back as far as they want. They can go back the first day you started filing a tax return. But in business, and then after you don't do this anymore, keep them for 10 years. Now, I'm sorry, but that's what you're going to have to do. And a lot of times, put them in the cloud, your information now, or wherever you want to put documents. I'm sort of getting used to this now since I merged in with my son, okay? And so I'm learning too, as far as that goes for storage. It's really nice. I'm very, very pleased with it. But keep the records, and if you've got, just get a filing cabinet. And with all the years I did business, I'm surprised because of how I filed it and only what I needed. I didn't do more than what I needed, okay, for my line of business, yeah. And so that's what you're going to want to do. Records are very important. And like I said, I don't care if it's your business, if you have rental property, the same for everything. Keep those records because you would be surprised. I had that hit a client once, and boy, he's glad he had them. Okay? And so we had them to show. But that's what you're going to have to do. Okay? That's for your protection. All right? And some people say, oh my gosh, I've got so much. But I'm sorry. At least the business, if you want to put it separate from the other, but as long as you keep those business records, okay?
Filing my taxes, it has always worried me. I've done this now for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked for a company, my W-2 showed federal and then showed
Medicare and Social Security.
Yeah. What am I, if I'm only doing federal when I go file now, are they gonna come back on me on the Medicare and the Social Security? Cause that.
You're paying that through when you file on your business.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Still pay it.
Because then I was going, and that's a good question. I was getting ready to go into, no, that's okay. I was getting ready to go in here a little bit with it. I want to make sure that I covered most of the expenses. And like I said, the travel was important, the office and the home, and I mean a lot, as you know, like I said, with the trash, the alarm, all that, and is very important, so.
Lunches, I know to keep my receipt for lunches. It doesn't help. And I'm buying groceries for my client.
If you buy groceries for your client, it's an expense for you.
Okay.
But your lunch is not deductible.
Oh, I've been keeping that for, and she didn't tell me last time I filed.
Mm-mm.
She said, where's your lunches?
Mm-mm.
That's Liberty
Not
Tax.
yours. Now, your client, you prepare it,
didn't
you
tell
buy
me
it and
just-
prepare it, you're
okay.
okay. You're fine.
She didn't say anything about dividing it up.
I wouldn't give it to you.
I'm coming to you.
And the reason is because it says you can't, okay? The
This is
only
a tax
time
company.
you can have meals if you're away, you have to go away from, let's say you have to go to Texas for,
No, this is driving through town and we go through a drive-through.
oh, no.
She did not tell me that.
That's me. That's me, okay? As a preparer.
So now I can
That's
get in
a
trouble
no.
for all that, cause I
That's a
gave
no.
that to her.
I will say you're not gonna get in trouble. It's been filed, and it can show that you bought for that individual. But no.
Okay, after all
It's
that's
only
done.
when you're away, like for special training, for your line of work,
Mhm.
you have to stay in a hotel. And then you, maybe from the hotel, you're going back and forth to the conference center or whatever.
Mhm.
You can have that travel. And you can have your meal. And it's gotta be not for fun, not for vacation. Now, they'll know you'll enjoy yourself a couple days touring around, and they're not real strict on that part, okay? But you can have that. and your mileage back and forth. You can have a plane ticket. I've got a client that has to fly out every year for his conference, for what he does, and he's allowed to have it. And then maybe he has a dinner, and he gets a client because of that dinner. Then he can take the dinner. But he is saying, okay, I want, you to listen to my plan, and maybe you can get a client. Maybe he's not. He didn't get a client, but at least he tried. It was a business meeting,
Okay.
and you can have that, okay? No, can't have it for yourself. Sorry. Okay? That's a no. Okay, now any gifts. Now we're on the food, any gifts that you purchase. You can have that too. Presents, gifts, however you want to put it. Okay, so that's important too. And really, we've not had problems with the gifts or anything. We know you can have it and so forth, so you're okay there, yeah. Maybe you were nice and say, okay, I'm going to take you shopping and I'm going to buy you 5 dresses. That's a gift, okay? Or if it's, I'm going to get you jeans or whatever, okay? So little things like this, yes, you can do, all right? Let's say you have a child that you care for. I have a client that has a child, and she'll get toys and other things provided that makes him comfortable, okay? I give it to her, okay? Because she's helping to assist in his care by doing that, okay? All right, so we have, like I said, there's just so many different expenses. I know I'm not going to mention them all, but if you're not sure and you think, maybe I can have that, give it to your preparer and let him or her decide, yes, you can have that. And
Computer.
most of the time you can.
Yeah.
Computer ink.
Computer ink, paper.
Oh, yeah, tell me about
Printing out
computer
the
ink.
ISPs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my word, yeah.
Mhm.
Binders.
Ink, a cartridge of ink is $50 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Extremely
Yeah,
expensive.
don't forget the ink.
So copy paper, yeah, anything like that. And like I said, with a computer, we'll give you a percentage. And I find most people are honest with the paper and the ink and stuff with, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
need. Okay. Most of my clients have, like with Barbara and probably the two of you also, is that you probably have just maybe a laptop or a tablet that you use to record, and so you're okay there.
And I bought it just for this because I have my phone that I use for everything
And if
else.
you did,
Mhm.
I'm going to give you 100%, if that's strictly all it's for.
I have
Okay.
one- I have a
Sometime-
Chromebook, and
Mhm.
I use that for all my
Yeah.
billing. I use it just for that.
And if they ever ask, you'll say, yes, I don't use it for anything else.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say you don't pick it up and look at one thing,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah.
But I do have one myself that is just business.
Mhm.
I don't do anything else on
And I
it.
like it for my CEUs,
Mm-hmm.
for watching those
Exactly.
watching the videos,
Mhm.
the training and everything. I
Mhm.
do all my training on that.
That's exactly what I do with mine too, because of the webinars that they come out with more than one-on-one.
Yeah, because
You know.
it's too hard to do that on a little cell phone.
It
It
is.
is.
It
Gotta
is
have a
very
bigger
And I
difficult.
screen.
can't print
Yeah.
off my cell phone. I mean, I could now. now.
Mhm. And you see a lot of people doing that now, a
Mhm.
lot. So that's not unusual,
Yeah.
okay? I guess the main thing is, with me, if they can give me a good answer, and I'm gonna take them at their word, I'm not prepared to interrogate. I ask, you tell me, then you're responsible, okay? So just remember, just try to be as honest as you can with it. Sometimes we'll go to a little gray area that we're loud, and I'll leave it up to the client, and then he or she'll say, okay, let's try it. It's worked out so far, but I pretty well know if they're not gonna let you do it, okay? All right. Okay, so with these expenses, I think we pretty well went through it, unless you have questions. I'm going to give you a site to go into. It's the Internal Revenue. It's irs.gov. Like I said, I haven't printed out, but I give people information like this all the time. And you go into individual, or not individual, excuse me, you go into forms.
Forms.
Yeah, it's right there on the front page. And so you go to forms, and you'll put schedule, SCHC, schedule C, and you don't want the instructions, and of course it'll say instructions or PDF for the form. You go into the form, and it lists all kinds of expenses, okay? And there might be some in there that aren't on there that I give too, okay? And because there's many other expenses also, but that helps, okay? You want to go to the end to the instructions, it might list more, but I really don't think so. And you don't want to go into instructions and try to do it yourself.
No.
Seriously, you do need to prepare, honestly, to give you everything you're entitled to. I've seen too many missed by trying to do it yourself, and we amend it. Okay? Don't want to do that. Okay.
Sharon, I got a real quick question. I
Uh-huh.
have 2 questions I got from outside of here that they
Okay.
asked me to ask.
Okay,
And this
fine.
says, my tax person told me mileage is up to 62 cents a mile. She doesn't believe that they're being paid that, are we? She says, I know we're not for sure with the self-waiver. Can you please ask if that's true?
Okay, it's split.
Okay.
It did go up, but it's for half the year. The other half is still at 59.5, I think, or 58.5. I mean, in my head, I'm trying to remember. But it is split, and it just happened with the signing of that bill,
Okay.
because gas went up. So I know some people that they're not keeping track except beginning and ending,
Mhm.
okay? I'll look it up here in a minute, Barbara, unless you want to look it up for me.
No,
Okay. I had that laying on the table too, because they changed it twice, so
Okay.
that's why in my head I'm getting that 2 figures on the 50.
gotcha.
But yeah, they decide to split it. So if you're not keeping like you are, the odometer each time, what we've done in the past, this has happened in the past before, we don't like it, but it happens, we're gonna split it.
So you go up to June for
So-
so much and then.
Well, let's say you go 10,000 for the whole year, we're gonna divide it by 2. Okay? And so you're gonna get 5,000 the first half, 5 the second. That's the fairest way to do it. IRS is fine with that. Instead of trying to do a fourth, 3/4, they're gonna look at that, and we don't want them to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna split it. So tell her it will be split.
Okay.
So the first half is 1, second is the 60.
Gotcha.
Okay? I'm pretty sure it went up to 59.5
Is it
if I'm
true
not.
if you claim an office in the home, it puts you at greater risk of being
No.
abandoned?
I know I answered that pretty quick. But a lot of people are afraid, as I mentioned much earlier in my conversation with you, that a lot of people say, oh, that's gonna put me in an audit, I don't want it. No, you're entitled to it. I ask the questions, you answer them correctly, I'm gonna give it to you. It's your responsibility to be able to support what you told me, okay?
Now,
That's the main thing, but you can't have it. I'm a preparer, I'm not afraid to take it if I get the right answers, and I will tell you, but you're responsible,
Yeah.
okay?
We
Gotta
live
keep
in a
records.
shotgun house, so there's no hallway, so we have a room that we just don't have furniture in. I put a computer desk in there,
Mm-hmm,
and that's what I call my office,
mm-hmm,
just because it's a 15 by 20, but it's right before the kitchen. I don't have a dining room set or nothing, and we have an
Mhm.
eat-in kitchen, that's where
Mhm.
we eat. Come back out, the next room is just empty. I was like, I gotta put something in here.
mm-hmm,
The people that lived there before had a formal dining room. I'm not that person.
okay.
So I put my desk in there.
Okay, so in this situation, as long as you're doing something with your business in there, and
I
it
have my
has to be
files
for,
and all that, yeah.
it has to be for that purpose, the filing, the printer, whatever,
Okay.
okay?
Mhm.
And you will also tell your preparer, this is what I have in it. I got a desk, I got a chair, I got a computer, I got a file cabinet, and we take all those assets, and that's what they're called, into consideration. But that's what it's gotta be for. So if you tell me you're using it for that purpose, okay, you're gonna get it. Just keep your records, like I said. Time and time again, records are so important, okay? Very important. Was there another question?
Yeah, we may have covered this one, but it said, this is a subject I need desperate help. I pay taxes on my alimony and it kills me financially. I need a better understanding of what more I can write off. I pay a tax preparer here in Circleville and don't believe they do me justice regarding to what to use in deductions. For example, this year I had $3,000 saved for taxes and it actually cost me over $7,000. I don't have that extra money around available each year.
Okay, is her question anything to come off of alimony or off her business?
Well, if I know this client, I believe she's Ohio Shared Living, which is non-taxable, or is tax-free, sorry. Yeah, tax-free income.
Okay.
So, I think it's what else she can, what other expenses she can do to offset that, paying the taxes on the alimony.
Alimony is taxable. There's
Okay.
nothing you can take off of it whatsoever. He can deduct it, she has to pay on it.
Okay.
And that's prior to. In the 2018 tax change, you don't claim it or deduct it. But prior to that, any divorce prior to, you have to still claim it. But you can't take anything off of it.
Okay.
They said that's due to what you're receiving due to a divorce.
Gotcha.
Okay. Child support too, you can't do anything. The government will actually tell you it's your responsibility to take care of your children. You wanted them, you're gonna take care of them. We'll give you that little write-off on the return of, let's say, $500, that's what it was, and then $2,000 for, depending on the ages, because it is going back to that.
Oh, wow.
There will be no big child write-off anymore. And so I won't go into that because we're here for a different purpose, but you can't do anything with that. Nothing. And the only reason I know is because a man come in and hadn't filed for 10, 15 years, had a business, and he had a business, and he said, but I pay child support, and he'd subtract it and come out 0. And he came in and he said, I need 10 to 15 years ASAP returns.
Oh, my goodness.
He had no records for his business. None.
Wow.
And I said, I will not go with you on this audit because you were wrong. And I think you know you were. And he said, but I have to pay this out for the kids. And I said, this is, and just what I just said a few minutes ago, IRS is going to say, you had them. Now, guess what? You're going to support them and only get that amount that we tell you as a tax regulation. Okay? That's it. And oh yeah, I don't even have any idea how he came out, but he will pay forever. He will. And it's sad. He should have had and went to somebody instead of doing this himself. And that's what happened. They caught it. I think the ex reported him, to be honest with you, but I'm not sure. I've had neighbors report people too. That, you know, somebody else say, well, I reported this person. Now, I don't do the person, don't know the person, but they'll tell me. So that's why I said with business too, you have to be careful, okay? Keep your records. That's the important thing. But in answer to the other, she can't do anything to offset that other than do quarterlies.
Okay.
She can do quarters and have a preparer set her up, and this is what I was going to talk about here in a little bit for for you, but and for anyone listening. But that's all I can advise. And is she a provider or
Yes.
she is a
She's a provider for her daughter.
Okay, unfortunately, there's nothing she can take off on the business, other than what I've just said, with all the expenses, anything and everything.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Yeah, they just feel it's obligation due to the divorce.
Right? Wouldn't that help?
Yeah, I don't know what level of supplies her daughter needs. I think her daughter's fairly independent, but I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of other things that possibly not to adjust because of the alimony. That you can't do, but maybe get with somebody I'll have cards for myself and for my son. And what I did, like I said, I was in my business for a long time. He decided to retire very early from this company, which he could. And he's an accountant, and he bought a business here in Circle just a year ago and said, Mom, you want to merge? And I said, yes. And so that's the short story, okay? It's going very well. It's just taking time. But you can contact me. I will leave with Barbara with my cards, or somebody else. You know, that's fine. But you have to talk to somebody. And there might be something she can do otherwise, but
Okay.
we'll not go into all the tax stuff.
Okay, that sounds great.
She can call somebody to ask.
Great.
Like I said, there might be a few things, but not on Schedule C.
Okay.
Okay, to offset that. So if you don't have any more questions about your income or your expenses, and there might be something that I'm overlooking on an expense. If I am, you can always call. I don't charge for anything. You can call me on the phone. You don't have to come in, and I'll answer your question. You can also email me. Barbara, she will have all that information too. But like I said, anything and everything, just bring it in and we'll go through it. Okay, all right. Now, you've done your return, you have your expenses, and you owe money, okay? Let's say you do. It depends on the rest of your income and how that all works out with who's on the return and so forth, and itself down. But I like to see people do quarterlies when you're in a business, farm, whatever. That's business. Some people have their other spouse take more money out on their employee, you know, their wages on their W-2s, take more money out to help cover that instead of having him or her do the quarterlies. That's a decision I leave up to the client. I suggest it, but it's up to them. If they don't, guess what? If you owe $1,600, you're gonna pay penalty and interest, okay? That's just the, you know, the way it is.
Now mine is 65 and I'm 60, so pretty soon I'm gonna have to change over. But he gets a disability check, or did. I don't know that he will now that he's 65, because he had to change from Medicaid into Medicare.
Okay, it depends on his situation, what his retirement age is. Then he'll automatically go
He's at
into Social Security. Medicare is at 65, no matter what your retirement age is. It's 65.
So when I file this year, will he be on it? We've been filing together, so, but he just gets that form from Medicaid or whatever it is. Social Security disability is what he had.
Is he 100% disabled?
So
Okay, it shouldn't be taxable.
it was, it counted.
Okay, then he's considered partially disabled. See, when you're, and I'll bring this into it, but real quick, when you're on Social Security disability, it depends on how it was agreed upon.
Okay.
Some people, it says you can't do this work anymore, no. So you get your disability, but you're able to do this or this or this. And it'll be in the court documents.
Okay.
I had to go through that with somebody that argued it.
Okay.
And no, she had to pay taxes on,
Yeah,
well,
that-
part of it, not all of it.
counted as
But
income.
it may not be taxable at all, see, because it's through Social Security. It's,
And since I'm
it could be up to
using Liberty Tax, that was wrong and
85%.
everything else, they might be wrong on this too.
mhm.
Okay.
But see, because once he's at, let's say his retirement age is 67, he still can, you know, go on Medicare at 65, but at 67, then it flips over to Social Security. It's not disability anymore,
Okay.
okay? That's how it works, okay? But you would wanna keep him on your return because of the advantage of married filing joint, okay? And there's a whole lot of others, such I can go into that and I won't, but there's other things that can be done too to benefit. Okay? All right, so now we're at the quarterlies. I will suggest it, I will come up with an estimate, what you should do for the following year, okay? You don't have to send them, but I, as a preparer, will tell you you should, okay? Because the way the Internal Revenue Service looks at it, you pay as you receive. Just like if you're an employee, you know, they withhold. You're paying as you receive. Maybe you don't have enough withheld, but you're still paying as you receive to eliminate some of the penalty, okay? But I do suggest that. If your preparer doesn't, I would ask, you know, should I, shouldn't I, or what, and see what their response is. I keep copies of the quarters, and they get copies, but again, it's up to them if they send them. Some people said I can't. Well, at least it's offered and it was there, okay?
Now, do you charge according to what we make, or do you have a set fee, or how do you do?
A set fee,
And we pay that at the time of filing,
yeah, it's cash, check, or card,
and is that tax deductible?
yes. Mhm. Yes, what you paid on, you know, like you, this is your first year, you wouldn't have a prior year, but after this, you can deduct that on Schedule C, what you paid for tax preparation. Now, if you paid $200, let's say, you're not gonna get the full 200 because part of it was for other things on that tax return. So let's say 100 was for the Schedule C, just as an example, okay?
I get
And then, of
what
course,
you're
there's an SE schedule involved
Yeah,
with that
'cause
too, for Medicare, and Social Security. The one thing to remember, I run into this with many people, they'll get to the point and he said, well, he had enough withheld, or maybe I have other offsets. You cannot get out of paying self-employment tax. But you show a profit. Now, if you show a loss, no, you're not going to. You know, that's common sense. But you cannot. Maybe you show income, and by the time you take off, let's say with the children, with your standard deduction, and you come to zero. But you showed, let's say, $5,000 in gross profit, net profit, okay, after expenses, you have to pay self-employment tax on the $5,000. You don't get out of that. You don't get out of it, okay, even though you show zero. Only if you show a loss on the business itself, okay?
Which we don't,
So if that happens to you, that's why you have to pay it. If somebody says, well, this is what you owe, why? You know, I zeroed out. Well, no, you still showed income on your return under Schedule C, okay? So you can't get out of it. But I do encourage you the quarters, if you can do it. Set some aside, whatever, okay?
Mine comes out to 100.
However you want to do it, whatever you feel comfortable with, I leave that up to my client. I'll say, this is what you should do, that's up to them, okay?
The process online is really easy. I've got like a cheat sheet, so if you want me to share the cheat sheet.
Yeah,
with
Barbara has a very good system, I'm very
it's a
pleased with her
sickness.
system.
It's a sickness, I'm
So
sorry.
if you want to do that,
Mine was
That'd be
simple from
great.
last year, I had 5,200, so it just come out to $100
oh,
a week.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I was like,
that's
well, I can
good.
do that.
That's
Uh-huh.
good to remember.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, that is, that's good though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I just want my clients to do what's comfortable for you. At least that's the way I feel about it. How you keep your records, just so you keep them. I don't care how you do it, okay? I'm not that picky about it. I'm sort of picky about me, but I shouldn't be, but I am. But, so I just want the clients to feel comfortable. And my clients are calling me all the time, texting me, I'm okay. 24/7, as Barb knows.
Yeah.
I've been on vacation far, far away, and I get a phone call or a text. But my clients are important to me, okay? Always has been. And they are to other preparers too, not just me. Okay? So I encourage that. But remember, you cannot get out of that self-employment tax, and why you wouldn't be able to. okay? Okay, then,
That's not enough.
we come, after you've got that completed, to state of Ohio. This is where you're gonna love the state of Ohio, okay? I do right now. Now, eventually, maybe not, but at the time I am. They've done this for a long time, where your profit, net profit on your business is 100% write-off. You're not taxed on it, on the state of Ohio.
That's what
It's taken off. Taken off. And they've done this, at first they started out at 50%, then they went to 75, and it's been 100 for a while. Now, I have seen some of the updates, not all of them again. Ohio's slow getting it to us. But right now, I'm not seeing whether it's gonna be taken away. I don't see it. It still exists, okay? So it comes off. It's called, it's under the credits and it's, or deductions, excuse me, it's form BUS, like the IT 1040 BUS, and that's where you put the information. And there's some questions you have to answer on that too. That you are a business and it's yours and the percentage and so forth. But you don't have to pay on it. That's what makes it nice. And your husband, with what he gets, doesn't have to pay on his disability either. If it's taxable, doesn't have to, it comes off. So you're okay there, okay? That's about the only thing with business for the state of Ohio. There's many other things. I won't go into it. We're not talking individual. We're talking just strictly on business, okay? Then we have the school. Now the schools were very nice for a while. We got 100% write-off, okay, like Ohio. Well, you're not gonna get it this time. And it was started last year before. They're saying, no, we need money and you're gonna pay. So 2020 and 2021, we've had to put it on the tax return. So, and a lot of your software takes it over, but I always double check to make sure it did. Sometimes the calculations aren't just right and you have to go in and adjust it, maybe not, okay? But you have to pay on that for the schools because they need the money.
Now, how do they, is that based on my income or my property tax?
Net. No, it's based on your net. This is a tax regulation through the school district of Ohio. The property taxes and stuff is through your counties for your personal property taxes on your home, etc. Okay, that's different, completely different. This is for your business, okay? So you are paying another way, but for your business, you have to put the net on there, okay? And then again, you've got traditional and earned, and it depends where you live, and your preparers will take care of that for you and how to calculate, okay? And this is one that, boy, the city. It's where you live, okay?
Yeah, don't live in Chillicothe. If you don't live in Chillicothe, don't live in Chillicothe. It's
No,
very
I
bad
don't live
city.
in the city.
Yeah, because it's
I
expensive
live
to
outside
live
the city.
Now, if you
I
do,
have a Chillicothe
yeah,
address.
see, right, and a lot of people have Circleville but aren't city
Right.
residents,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, I don't
Barbara
pay city
has
taxes
that
if I don't
also.
live in the
Yeah.
city.
I
Uh-huh.
did for a
So if
year.
you're not in the city, you're okay.
Yeah.
The main thing here, and this is what I've run into with people with schedules, business, whatever, they have. Okay, they live in Circleville. They work in Columbus. That's where their patients, clients, whatever, live. Guess what? You owe Columbus. They're giving you the privilege to work there. That's the way they look at it.
So
If
I
you're
gotta
in the
pay
city
Chillicothe
limits
and
of
Circleville?
Columbus. Now, you may have a client with a Columbus address, but they're not in the city, okay? You have to, the preparers have to know this, you know, and we have ways to look that up.
Okay, but on our I-99
But you have to file it.
or 1099, all it says is I worked X amount of units and got paid per unit. It doesn't say where I worked.
Yeah, but if you are actually present there, you're supposed to. I have a lot, to be honest with you, that don't separate it. They don't, because they travel a lot, okay? They're going from different clients to different clients. But the city says,
So
You're
my city
supposed to.
people, I've gotta take
but
that
I'll be
out.
honest, a lot of them don't.
Okay.
No, they don't. But it's where you live, you do have to put it on there. And if you work someplace else, Circleville gives you credit. So it still zeroes itself out. But like with you, you're not, but most of the care, right, most of the care, I'm gonna be very honest, they don't. They don't show the difference, they really don't. Okay? Like a traveling nurse,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to go ever, because of how she's contracted, and I think
Yeah,
you're
my
probably
client has
contracted
wound
the
care
same way.
nurses, and they
Mhm.
I'm
travel
pretty sure
all
you're
different cities.
but if you're not, that's what you have to do, okay? Cause you're Schedule C, you're a business, okay? Okay. I've not done one that way, I'm gonna be honest, I never have, never.
Okay.
It's always where you live. But I just wanted to point it out, it's a possibility.
Okay.
You get a letter, preparers will take care of it. And usually we get it waived, I do. So, okay. But I just want you to be cautious of that. Not that it's ever gonna happen, probably never will, but I've had this asked before, and so I wanted to bring it up.
Okay, we get
Okay.
paid by, do you get paid from Pickaway County?
Mine says state of Ohio, and then I got
Ohio
an out.
Department.
Mhm. Most of it is done
The
that
state
way.
of
Yeah.
Ohio,
Do
I get
a DOD
direct
waiver.
deposit,
Mhm.
it says state
Yeah.
of Ohio.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's not a
Amount.
city tax issue?
I would say no, unless you are in a city and it's where you live. You
Okay.
have to pay city tax where you live.
Okay, Frankfurt, okay.
Not where you work, it's where you live, unless you have a business. But I've never done one like, with care and stuff like that, I haven't. But I wanted to bring it to your attention in case something would happen or a preparer would say something to you. But I've never had that. And sometimes the cities tell you to.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I
they're
don't.
going to. Yeah,
I
they're going to tell you that.
don't. Yeah, we've had some issues. Cities are coming down very hard right now, not just on that, but many other things. They're really hitting hard.
Yeah.
Especially with penalties, interest, boy, are they hitting. All over the state of Ohio. A lot. People are getting letters all the time. Mhm. But yeah, I didn't wanna scare you, and I didn't mean to, or have you confuse you, that was not my intention. It was just, if you would get a letter,
Yeah.
just take it to your preparer. That's the main thing, if it would ever happen. Like I said, I've never had it, I've never had that issue. Okay, just where you live. Okay, so that's the main things right now to remember. Like I said, I've probably overlooked some things, but you've got all 4 of those returns that you may have to do, okay? State of Ohio, like I said, is nice.
And you don't see that changing?
No. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail with this. If you hear about it, talk to your preparer. Because most people are exempt, but why the government in the state of Ohio did this, I have no idea. This is new. It's to help. It's supposed to have criminals, for your protection, to keep criminals from coming in to your business or whatever, taking your identity, your ID numbers and so forth, okay? And it's called FinCEN, FINCEN. Do not go online and read it, because trust me, you're not gonna know what to do.
Okay.
If you hear it, you wanna know about it, ask your preparer. They're preparing us for it now, okay? But most of my clients will never be part of it,
Okay.
most of them. That's what it's for, and boy, do you have to give personal information, it is unreal.
Mm.
Driver's license, birthday, if you
Yeah,
got a passport,
passport.
it's awful. But the main thing of exempt is if you have more than 20 employees, and if your assets, or if your income is over 5 million, there's a third one, and I forget.
How many clients can I have?
But believe it or not, you have to meet all of it or you file. So I have some clients that have more than 20 employees. And guess what? They're gonna have to do this.
Oh my.
So they only may have 1 million or less, 500,000, okay? That may be all that they have. But they have over 20. And so if they have 21, they have to file this.
So you're talking some of the agencies that employ DSPs would
Yeah,
probably have to do it.
There is some
Yeah.
agencies that are exempt. We're still working, we're still going to
Mhm.
classes on it myself. I go to classes every year. I teach. I used to teach a lot of tax courses. I don't do that much anymore, but I still do occasionally. I just find it important to keep up with everything, and any question, just ask. But this is something that they haven't completed it yet with us. I've got 2 more classes I have to take. The ethics, the updates, well, really 3. And the one is this fencing, so we understand it. I'll tell you, when I go to these classes, we have all sorts of people, Internal Revenue Service coming in to give us information, CPAs, attorneys, we have all sorts, very good speakers, excellent. And we learn a lot from them. But even this is confusing them, okay? And also, your preparers are gonna take care of this. When you have your income, and I'll go back to that since I brought this up. When you go back to that, let's say you have 40,000, or 40, let's say you have 4,000 in income. Well, this occurred, if I'm thinking correctly, 3, maybe 4 years ago. It's to help businesses, and it does. You get, they call it QBI, Qualified Business Income, and it would qualify your Schedule C, and you get 20% credit. So it is showing on your tax return. But again, the Social Security, the Social Security still has to be taxed. It doesn't eliminate that. It may reduce your taxable income from Schedule C, but the other, you're still gonna have to pay on the full amount of net for Social Security, for self-employment tax. And you are paying into Social Security.
Right.
Okay? You're building up your Social Security. I have some people that I've heard, now I haven't had this situation, but I've had other preparers say, this one guy, he always zeroed out on his income, Schedule C, business income. Didn't have to pay the government. Well, guess what? He's not getting Social Security. He didn't pay in, okay? So you don't get it at all. No exceptions.
But we are, because that amount that I
Yes,
know.
yes, you are. I don't care if it's, $500. Now, under 200, you don't have to. But, to pay into it. But anything over that, there's a small amount of self-employment for Social Security and Medicare. Okay? So you pay into that, and, but yeah, he gets, so you think you're beating the government, 0, 0, 0 for many, many years, and then you get nothing. And he didn't have a pension. He didn't set up a pension plan.
How's he gonna live?
An IRA or anything.
Oh my.
So,
He would always get
guess what?
nothing.
He's still working. He has to. Okay? That, I don't know the person personally, but I had another preparer mention that to me. Because sometimes we get to talking when
Yeah.
we're one-on-one meetings. Right now it's webinar, but we really we could all write a book. All of us, all prepared on many, many different situations, but just the Schedule C, just make sure you keep anything and everything, and if you're not sure, keep it anyway.
Right.
Don't care what it is. And then we'll make the decision for you when we go to do the return, but no meals, okay?
Okay, no more meals.
No more meals.
Can't
I'm
blame
sorry.
your own.
I got a stack of receipts.
No, you could buy there.
Yeah. Or you can tell me it's meals, but don't tell me it's for you.
There you
Now
go.
that's-
Just say, give me the receipts
Now,
for
should
your
I,
meals, and
should I
will-
tell you that? No, and this is going out to everybody. But even some of the IRS agents will say, I don't wanna hear it, okay?
Right.
They even say that, so if I ask and you tell me, that goes on your tax return,
Okay.
or I can't do it, because I could get in trouble. Okay? So, but again, if you're away for conferences, training, whatever, you can have it under those, where you're away from your tax area, where you live, okay? So you can have that. That's why I encourage people to, you wanna do training, fine. You wanna go away, that's fine, and, take it off or not, it's whatever you wanna do. It's
I'm
up to
going on
you.
a cruise in 2024 and taking 3 clients. How do I write that on?
Let me tell you, that's audit.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. Another preparer told me, and it is a business,
Yeah.
okay? And she went ahead and gave him entertainment. And they came back and he owed over $40,000 back in interest and penalty because they would not accept it.
Oh my.
If you do airplane with clients, you do cruise with clients, boy, it better be backed up. Really backed up. Strictly 100% business. No luxury. Okay?
Goodness.
They are very strict. And he got caught
Mhm.
and had to pay it back.
Mm.
Every penny that he wrote off. Mhm. The preparer should have known better
There you go,
because
right.
that's an audit.
Okay.
If I was an auditor, you're darn right I would have audited it.
My golly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep. That's especially mileage. Somebody will say, same as last year. Not with me, you're not.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm sorry. Unless you travel the same way all the time. Now that's different. You said, well, I went the same place. And you can back that up, okay.
Right.
I'm not gonna doubt your word. I go to the same place all the time. But it better not be 30,000. Better not be 10. Better not be 20.
Mm.
You can go 10,931, okay?
Mhm.
Because I'm gonna hit you for an audit if it's an even figure. And seriously, and we've had Internal Revenue Service agents tell us this
Yeah.
in our classes. Like I said, I've been going to school my whole life, besides teaching it, I still go,
Mhm.
okay? I think it's important to keep up on it. And like I said, Barbara has other sources for you if you need to look in anything. But you go to that IRS website, to that schedule, and it will show other expenses there for you to sort of look at. Because that's the form we do, Schedule C,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
That's what we do. But it's just, I can't stress enough, you've got to have a tax preparer. I know sometimes it can get expensive, I do. I know the cost, but, it pays off in the long run. And if you don't feel comfortable, ask somebody else, go to somebody else. You need to be comfortable with your preparer, you need to know that he or she's doing the best for you. I don't care who it is. I've even had people because unfortunately I'm not perfect, make mistakes, I take it harder than my clients, always have. But sometimes I overlook something and they'll say something to me. I'm never offended, and no preparer should be offended in any way. You're not telling me I can't do my job, you're just telling me I think you overlooked that. Sure, tell me, because you're entitled to that expense. So, and I could have forgot to ask you, okay? So be very upfront with everything you're entitled to. It's very important, okay? your
Yeah.
return, it's saving you some money.
As a rule of thumb, how much should we keep back to pay our federal Medicare and Social Security? Like how much percentage?
Okay, that's all in, okay, that's
keep
all
back?
in one, okay?
Yes,
Right, that's all in one. So what my recommendation is, find out what tax bracket you're in,
okay,
the 10, 15, 20%, okay?
okay.
Now, this is gonna sound like a
Tax
lot,
bracket you're in.
and Barbara's been through this before too,
Mhm.
and anybody else that's had to make the quarterlies.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in the 10% bracket.
Okay,
15.3% is
Right.
self-employment
right,
and your Medicare, so add 15.3 to 10%, and that's what you keep back.
okay.
I know that sounds like a lot,
Yeah, no.
but if you're an employee and you withhold properly to cover your tax liability, that's pretty much the same.
25.3%.
Mhm.
Dang.
Sorry. But
I
that,
didn't
that
know.
is the calculation. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
25.3%.
So it's your
Well,
bracket plus 15.3.
Correct. Your tax bracket plus the 15.3,
Okay,
okay?
Now, if you're filing jointly, that's the whole picture, correct? Not
Well,
just your
yes.
income?
okay.
Yeah, but
so I
if
do
you're
that.
filing a joint return, then I look at the overall picture of your entire tax return that you did the year before, so that I have an idea of what to tell you. Like, people that I have in 2021 that's completed,
Yeah,
I'll say, okay, here, I have a lot of people call me, even late into the year, okay, how can I make up what I have, to cover? But, I look at the returns and say, okay, you're gonna make about the same. I know with Schedule C, it's hard because of expenses, and
Yeah.
maybe you'll make a little more, a little less. If you do, just call me, or your preparer, whoever it is, and, maybe you'll add $100 or $50 or 20 or something. I look at the overall tax return of both. I'll tell you, most of my clients with Schedule C income want to pay it that way instead of the overall picture.
okay,
Maybe he's having a lot withheld and you'll be okay, maybe not. Taxes change, well, not the tax rates for right now, but, things can change, but, that's why I said you gotta have a tax preparer. Keep up with him or her. Ask questions all through the year. Just don't think, from January to April, it's over. Or from April if you do an extension to October. Ask the questions. If you change jobs, if you do this, that's how you keep up with your taxes. Okay, so it doesn't hurt you.
So will I take
Yeah.
what I made last year,
Mm-hmm.
multiply it by the 25.3%, divide that by 52?
That sort of shows you weekly.
Okay, I
Mhm.
just
If
wanna
you-
make sure. that
It's
that's
how
right.
you are comfortable with calculating. It's
I wanna make
however-
sure that's the right way to do
Right,
it. Okay.
and you can do that.
Okay.
I have some that do it a different way, but that's fine, that's
I
good.
just
Then
take
you're
out
gonna
the
know.
percentage of my pay every time I get paid, I just
Mm.
take out that percentage.
Mm-hmm, and that's
Every
good.
time,
That's
every time I
good.
get, every week. Yeah, I just take out that
Mhm.
percentage and I
I
put it in a
know,
different account or
yeah.
something separate.
Yeah, I
I
got it.
calculate mine at the end of the
Mhm.
quarter.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it can be very upsetting when they say, okay, you owe $7,200,
Yes.
54.
okay?
Yeah,
Most of it is because, you just didn't follow it through. And I know times have been very hard. COVID hit so many people so hard.
Thank God we got
Losing
the keep
jobs,
open.
trying to get
Yeah.
jobs, trying to calculate bills.
yeah.
I mean, I've heard so many sad stories. I have. And all I can do is the best that I can in giving them the proper tax regulation. And then you hear, but it's not fair. Maybe not. But 22, and I'm gonna hate to say this, is not gonna be any better than 2021. Okay? And the reason being, and I'll go ahead and throw this in here, because it's gonna affect your return, not just with your Schedule C. But when they passed the tax regulations for 2018, they overhauled the whole system, okay? When most of us preparers seen it, we knew it
Mhm.
was not good, okay? I even did calculations on the old regulation against the new, so my clients could see the difference. And they did better with the old calculation, okay? I did it just because they asked me to. That's over and done with, but each year, the withholding gets less. They've changed the whole W-4, okay, withholding form. These employers, I don't know how they're calculating. Some of the payrolls that they've hired to do payroll, I don't know how they're doing it. Well, then I finally figured it out. And it took me a while, but I got it figured out. It's wrong, let me tell you this, okay, of what they're doing. What they're doing is forcing. We always used to find a way around it. Well, I found one way so far, but they're forcing it, let me tell you. And these people are owing money or getting less back, and that's what I said, 2022 is not gonna be better. There'll be no child tax prepayment like there was before, that's gone. Child tax credits back down, a lot of changes. And like I said, this doesn't come into this, but I'm just giving you what's happening, just a lot, okay? So I've had so many people say, but Sharon, I've withheld so much, and I have kids. What am I gonna do? And I feel for them, I honestly do. But there's no more than they have to take out to cover it, or call and make arrangements to pay. And you're gonna see it till 2025. Each year, it's gonna get worse in withholdings. Now, they did expand your tax table, okay, because you'll be taxed on your business. Let's say it was, for the 10% bracket, let's say it was between 30 and 50. So now it might be 25 to 55. They expanded it a little bit for the 10%, okay? Now, those aren't the exact figures, but that's just explaining what they've done. They've expanded a little bit, but still, it's all in the withholding. That's why I recommend the quarterly payments.
I'm gonna
Okay.
start doing that because we're gonna be
Yes.
screwed major.
And I know it's not always easy. I know. I've been there and done that before. I've had my quarters, and I know that, my gosh, I'm not making any money maybe. And then I am, and then taxes change, regulations, and then we're in another situation. Yeah. So, I mean, I could go on and on. Sometimes I'm told I talk too much. But these are things to look at and think about. But the main thing is your income and all these expenses. That's important, and your quarterlies. Then to know when you have to pay city tax, your school tax, and then, of course, Ohio's eliminated for your business. Okay? So, I will, like I said, I'll see that Barbara has some copies of things that I haven't got it printed out. I haven't been back to the office to get it printed out. My printer decided it was all out of ink, and I haven't ordered it. So, I know. And so I'll see that she gets it, and who's ever watching or stuff, if they want, you can get it dispersed to them.
Great.
To give them some ideas of what to
Great.
do. So, okay.
Awesome.
But I hope I helped in some way, and questions and whatever, get with Barbara, or she can give you my information, you can get with me, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can, okay?
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure meeting everybody and everybody that's watching. A pleasure in talking with all of you. So have a happy Thanksgiving
Same to you.
all of you, okay? And again, thank you.